What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? That's all you got? So everyone stand up real quick. Don't worry, you're not going to jump around and dance and do goofy shit. Okay? Here's what I need you to do. I need you to acknowledge two groups of people. See, one of the most critical emerging values in an organization is acknowledgement. Acknowledge what you expect. Acknowledge the behavior you expect. One of the behaviors that I expect is contribution. It's one of my core principles, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to acknowledge the speakers, the amazing coaches, the amazing trainers, the technology. Make a lot of noise and acknowledge all these people that have spoke before me over the last couple days. Number two, same thing for follow-up boss. Sit your ass down, let's get to work. Let me get this part out of the way. So I'm a coach, trainer, all that stuff. So, usually we wait till the end to sell you shit, right? I'm gonna sell you stuff right now, okay? And we'll get it over with. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to have your sales skepticism up, okay? And I'm gonna tell you what it is and you can make a choice right now, okay? I'm going to sell you on believing in you. Raise your hand if you're ready to move to that place right now. Raise your hand. Okay. Here's why. Here's what I know. What I know is there's a lot of self-doubt. That's okay. A lot of people are in a jam right now. That's okay. And there's some subtle shifts that you need to make that I'm going to give to you. Okay? Raise your hand just for a show of folks in the room. How many people here are team leaders or aspiring team leaders? Okay, and then how many are not? All right, here's what's going to go down. Number one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you why we're where we're at, okay? And we all walk along this journey together. Why are we where we're at, okay? You've got to inspect, okay, the symptom. And then we always get down to the disease, okay? We're going to take a look at where we're at. We're going to take a look at what is the solution for it right now. Like, listen, here's the deal. I know most of you, I don't have to. I do 80, 90 calls a week, okay? I know that most people are behind last year. They don't feel good about it. It sucks. They're so used to winning, okay? And that is painful to people. Who's going to be honest and say this year didn't turn out quite like I hoped it would? Okay, good. So, we're going to visit what the problem is. I'm going to share with you a solution. And let me tell you this. After 35 years in this business, I'm going to shoot some guns at you, okay? I can shoot guns at you. I can shoot the bullets at you because I held it in battle as an agent, as a branch manager, as an executive. I'm going to bring you what is tested, what is proven, and what some of the best in the world are doing. Many of them have been on this stage, and I'm fortunate enough just to ride along with them and see what they're doing, okay? So, I'm going to lay a foundation for you. I'm going to give you the 3 levers to perform at a level of excellence regardless of the marketplace, and then the overarching objective. I'm going to give you some specific action steps that I'm seeing working right now in organizations. Watch this. Do I have every answer? Never. Are most of my clients, all of them smarter than me? You bet. I'm an observer, okay? But I'm telling you something right now. I'm riding close with them. I'm behind the curtain. I'm seeing what's happening. And here's what I will say to you, okay? If you take the action steps that I give you, finally, you're going to win. Because there's no accident that if you look at that top producer panel, 3 of the 5 are my coaching clients. There's no accident that my average coaching client does about $600-700 million. Okay? I'm in the results game. Let's get it on. See, there's a problem right now. There's a conversation that you're having. You're having the wrong conversations. You're talking about interest rates. That's the wrong conversation. You're having conversations about inventory. It's the wrong conversation. You're having conversations about back to the basics. That is the wrong conversation. All of a sudden, you're having this conversation about your profit and loss statement. It's the wrong conversation. Let me tell you the right conversations and the right focus. Because everything is about focus, period. Number one, why the hell did you ever leave your basics? How about this time, you're back to the basics, you don't leave them. Stop buying into the bullshit. Let me tell you what the bullshit is. The bullshit is the distraction. Okay, write this down. Work works. Let me define work. Let me help you out. Okay? You think you got work ethic? Nah, y'all put in a bunch of time. You put in a bunch of time going to the backyard picking money off the money tree. You got no idea, man. I chewed rocks. Door knock, cold call, FSBO, expireds. 36 years ago. God, I'm old. Okay? Have done that work. Here's what you need to do. You need to define this. You need to define it for you, and you need to define it for your agents, and you need to define it for your recruit prospects, because your discernment process as you're hiring agents today is more critical than it's ever been. Work ethic is only partly based on the time you put in. Let me give you number two. Your willingness to do the activities that are absolutely uncomfortable. And that's what you need to ask people. And that's what you need to go back to your current agents and onboard them again. You do. You need to re-onboard all of them. You know, I said something a year ago. I said the most productive organizations in 12 to 18 months, meaning that thing profit, right, would have a 50 to 75% attrition rate. And guess what? It's bang on. See, let me ask you a question. Is it easier to take your current agency? We get so much in this science, but you guys got to understand, you're in the human resource, human development, human attraction business, human behavior business. Is it easy to change the behavior of your current agents and say, you know, you were an order taker. Guess what? Go take leads that are your old. Or is it easier to bring new people in that don't know any better and that will subscribe to the principles of what works? What do you guys, raise your hand if you think it's easier to do number one. How about number two? The rest of you, did you drink too much last night? It's about human beings. So number one, man, never leave your basics, period. Okay? Let's talk about interest rates. You know the conversation about interest rates and inventory? See, you are so focused on the wrong thing. Okay? Why do you keep talking about the uncontrollables? You tell me. Because you're a victim? You're not a victim. These are the one percenters. It's just a subtle shift. See, my clients have heard this. You guys have probably heard it somewhere. You need to go back. See, people say, oh, when you talk to this person or that person, what's the conversation like? Pretty boring. It's little things because you guys write it down. Tiny hinges swing big doors. Stop looking for the grand slam. It is tiny hinges that swing big doors. When you understand that and you understand mastery, you will be undefeated, okay? The wrong conversation is, oh my God, my budget. No, I need this. No, here's the conversation, the right conversation. I want to know why you didn't have it. Why didn't you look at cost of goods sold a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Why didn't you notice then that your retained company dollar, okay, was 40%, which leaves you about 10% for marketing, which leaves you about 10% for staff, and leaves you about 10% for overhead. Anyone know what that profit margin is? Come on, mathematicians. Not enough. So let me help you out, okay? What you need to do, you need to stick to the basics and never leave them. Stop being reactionary in your life and be creative. You know what, though? Some guru said, what got you here won't get you there. Let me tell you a little something about commitment. Let me tell you a little something about discipline. Let me tell you a little something about consistency. Let me tell you a little something about the basics. It got me a long ways, and it's got my clients a long ways. How about you? What got you here will get you there. Write this down. Your future's in your past. Your future's in your past. How many of you, I want you to just reflect. I want you to reflect. How many of you today are operating with the same urgency that you did and doing the same things that you did when you first started in the business? No, too cool for that, man. Oh, I hire people to do that shit. And let me help you out. See, you're so caught up, and I love it, and I get it, and it's wonderful, great, but it's not. Because you're paying the price right now. Because now you're being asked to go back and do the things that you need to do, and a lot of you don't know what to do. I'm not here to poo-poo automation. It is critical. But let me tell you this. You've got to find this middle. Many of you, you automated your way out of relationships. You automated your way out of relationships with agents. You've automated your way out of relationships with the consumer. That's called out of touch. And I'm going to share with you the activities of a leader to do on a daily basis. You should all be working part-time. How many of you feel if your agent followed your process of follow-up going into the CRM, how many of you feel they could work part-time and make 250 grand? Raise your hand. 2 hours a day in the CRM. Well, guess what? I'm going to enlighten the rest of you. They'd probably make 500 grand. They probably make 500 grand. It's ridiculous. So, here's the issue. You're outcome-based instead of process-based. You experienced financial rewards in the last 5 years. At some point, in most cases, that are beyond what you've ever experienced. We're programmed, and we all have this lid. You know what you need to do? Screw your goals. They're worthless. Throw them away. You arrive. There's an end point. This is a journey. Listen to the highest performing athletes on the planet. My good friend and a friend of many people in here has been in the New England Patriots locker room and heard how they're coached. It is about the process over and over and over. Here's what I'd say to you. Average people are outcome-based. People who live in excellence are process-based. They're obsessed with the process. Here's the problem with excellence. Excellence requires commitment. Excellence requires consistency. It requires discipline. It means not once in a while. It requires not looking cool and not doing stuff that feels cool. Well, I'm the CEO. I don't have to do that. I'm going to tell you something. You keep that attitude, you're either getting smoked or you're going to get smoked. And so here's what we're going to do. You're in a space, many if not all, of discomfort. You're uncomfortable today because of maybe the situation your business is in, which impacts your personal life, and that's important to me. I help people get sober. I help people get healthy with their fitness. That's more important than this real estate thing. This is just a vehicle for me to do this. This is just the vehicle to get in front of people to impact them. I know that. What's this business a vehicle for you to do? Right? I mean, you ever think about that? You've got discomfort in maybe financial situations. You've got discomfort right now in activities that you need to do, and you're really uncomfortable and you don't know what the hell to do. You're paralyzed. It's human nature. The two reasons people don't take action is fear and overwhelm. But you want to know what you do? Let's train them some more. Let's give them more information, and let's overwhelm them. Are you kidding me? And then you sit with someone and say, but you need a bigger why. Wait a minute. Fear and overwhelm shuts a human being down, and you tell them they need a bigger why. Let me give you a pro tip on that. They just need what? What one thing hasn't happened in your personal life that the action steps that you would take by this time would make that happen? See, everything big is built on the back of micro commitments. Everything big is built on the back of micro commitments. The simple solves the complex. Tiny hinges swing big doors. Master the mundane. See, many of my clients, they don't even do the business plan. You know what you guys do with our business plan is so awesome. You fill that shit out, and that shit goes in the drawer, and you never look at it again. Simplify. The top teams in the world. Let me tell you something. That exercise they shared with you to go to the board, literally before COVID hit, I was flying around quarterly to 10 teams to facilitate. This is not me hustling it. I'm busy enough. I'm not here to sell anything except for you on you. Let me tell you how critical that is. I was flown out every quarter to do it. Every single quarter. Public declaration equals manifestation. Right? We hold people accountable in a safe public environment. They'll weasel on you as a leader. They will not weasel on their peers. See, the bottom line for many of you, which you've got to come to understand, is you are no longer in the transaction business, okay? People move the money. And your business will grow in direct proportion to your ability to move those people. So, if you will take on this mission that's really simple, and you show up here and leave here with curiosity instead of judgment, because I'm really easy to judge. Tool, musclehead, yells at people. I hear all this stuff. Part of it's right, maybe. But just block that shit out. Be curious. If you will take these simple steps, you will need nothing else. Here are your 3 pillars. Number 1, principles. Principles are law. Principles extend across the organization. See, here's the thing. You read these little books on how to scale, and you follow the little dot to dot and how to have a meeting, but you want to know who you don't scale? You. Your organization will grow in direct proportion to your personal development, in direct proportion to your emotional maturity, your emotional intelligence. And one of the toughest things to do is run an organization based on principle, because it is law, because it is constant. And we're very worried about what people think. And if I hold someone to it, they're an independent contractor. And they're an elevator asset. They come to work on the elevator. Well, that asset's worth about $250 in retained company dollar. And they leave and go home. And they don't have to come back. We'll go a little bit deeper into that. Principles. Because I'm going to give you guys some examples of what's happening. Because I'm going to share with you who's doing really, really well. And the reason they're doing really, really well. Okay? Principles are absolutely law. Okay? Number 2, standards. And I'll just touch on it quickly. I call you out with love. We got standards. Yeah, they're not the ones that are written down on that little contract. They're the ones that you allow people to get away with. Wake up. And you know what? You don't hold people to them because you got chicken feathers. Book, book, book. I'm going to help you with that one. Okay? Number 3, 3 pillars of excellence, the 3 levers of excellence, okay? Skills. I mean, you can keep training people. I'm in the training business. I get paid to train. You know what I get trained to do? Facilitate change, facilitate a choice. See, all I can do, I can't make any of you productive. I can, and you too, stop telling people you make them productive. You can only facilitate a condition for someone to choose or choose not to be productive. That's it. Does that make sense, you guys? Skills, and we'll get into that. But before we get into skills, I'm going to go walk here on the stage because he told me I should go side to side. I like to follow directions. I'm a good kid sometimes. Check you out from here. So, got on a phone call at 4:20 a.m., coaching call. So let's open up your follow-up, boss. This is Monday. Pull out the contact attempts report. They're doing pretty good. A little bit behind, about $300-400 million team. You know, a little bit. Actually, they were a little bit ahead. Now they're kind of flat with last year. And I said, take me to the contact attempts number. But first, give me a guess. What's your average contact attempts in the last 30 days? Oh, it's probably 12 or 15. I said, it's probably 3. No way! 2.7. I found the money. Then I went further. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to do 2 things for you. I'm taking you from case study this Monday at 4:20 a.m. on a coaching call, okay? And I'm giving you, so I want you to hear this twice. I'm giving you the action steps to take. Then we went back 12 months and it hadn't changed. It is the standard. Get it? The standard there is 2.7 reach out attempts. Okay? Then we went down that little column that went to each individual's average reach out attempts. Okay? And while I'm telling you the story, I'm in discovery. We're finding out what's going on that we can change action. Here are some things I want you to look for. Lack of diversity in forms of communication. This person's banging the phones. No text, no email. Okay? Here's another thing that I want you to look for. Okay, and Justin Haver is the absolute best at this. It's the reason his 60 agents closed 1,983 transactions with no Zillow, no Realtor.com. I'll give you a little detailed stuff that you guys probably, this is his work. This is his mastery. Guess what their average reach out attempts were that year per lead? Any guesses? Was it 25 or 27, Justin? 26. Pull that report up right now in your follow-up, boss, and pull a bag out and barf. And then if you want the dry heaves, go listen to your recorded calls next. Because here's what's interesting. You guys ready for this? You know what's so cool? You guys will run around and tell me, oh, man, you should hear this podcast I have. It's amazing. Every day. I listen to it every morning. Awesome. Stay with me. You've got to understand human psychology. Because you're looking for a bigger outcome. But how many of you will spend 30 freaking minutes in the closest to the dollar activity every single morning listening to your recorded calls? You see how it's just one shift, okay? One shift. It's really simple stuff. So then we go down. I want you guys to go down a little bit further. We went down this path too. So here's what happened. This is live coaching. My job is to inspect, okay? And then prescribe based on what I see. So then we start going down the highest average per. So you would think naturally the highest average reach out attempts, okay? In most cases when I look at that, hey man, they're rocking, they're crushing. Guess what? Wow, this person's at 22. This person's at 23. This person's at 19. What's your name, sir? Scott. Hey, how's Scott doing? Well, I think he's getting out of the business. Okay. Hey, here's 24. How's Anthony doing? Well, he just took a part-time job. One more. This continued on. Stay with me. Let's learn together. So if I'm going down the path and I'm seeing all this activity and I'm not seeing a result, what did we discover was the issue? Skills. But here's the thing. You guys have to inspect. Why am I sharing these things with you? Because all of these little stories I'm telling you talk about principles. They talk about standards. I'm going to give you a good standards one. And these are real life. I can't make shit up, man. Okay? And they talk about skills. Team leader doing about 700 million says, I'm spending $2 million a year in marketing and this market's changing. I'll be damned if people aren't going to freaking start using the app and recording all their freaking calls in there. That's it. Comes in. See, could you do this? Comes into the office. You'll notice today I'm in a finely pressed suit. I got a handkerchief. Let me tell you why. Based on what I'm going to roll out to you next, I'm ready to go sell homes because I may have to. And with all due respect, I love you all. If you've been here 15 days or 15 years, here's the standard. Every Monday, and so pick these. There's not one way. You know, you guys, there's not, here's the thing I want you to be careful of. Well, that's the standard. That's the standard. Oh my God, you hear that new standard. Just pick one and stick with it. Just pick one. I had a client say to me, we need to change our standards. I said, I got a great idea. What's that? How about we enforce the ones you had in place for a while? He said, shit, I should pay you double for that coaching call. Walks in. This is leadership. Are you willing to hold the standard to grow your organization and break through and really shift your culture? I'm sorry, but your potluck doesn't freaking fix your culture. Okay? Are you willing to have the $30 million producer stand up in the meeting and go off? This is illegal. This is wrong. Everyone else here can't stand this. We're against you. And let them do their thing, and the next day, with love, we're no longer in a business relationship. Let's do a little math together. 30 million times a commission is 700,000. That's 350,000 over 15 years. My math tells me that's 4.5 million retained company dollar. I want you to sit in that and ask yourself, would you hold your standard? See, here's what you get to decide today to thrive. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you leave and you operate with these principles, you operate with these standards, it's game over. This is the most opportune time in the history of man. You want to know why? Because people are afraid. And when people are afraid, it allows you to move forward at a very, very high level, but also take those people that are afraid and be a solution for them. They let that person go. Gone. Any guesses what the activity and follow-up boss did the next 30 days? This is not a joke. Any guesses? Through the roof. I want to stay in this. This is what's happening right now. These are the like I said, I'm many years out from operations of managing a branch, managing an office. I mean, I'm just like behind the curtain. I will never, ever move away from coaching because I need to be real time, okay? I'll have Justin correct me because we've worked together for about 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Young man, he can verify this. Young man takes only 100 leads a year, converts 40% or 35. 44%. His average reach out attempts per contact attempt is 40-ish, right? But you're creating this, if you contact him in 3.25 seconds on a crescent moon with a full tide, you create this freaking science project for people, and they're like, what the fuck do I do? You guys, this is not, this is the mic here. Whatever. I'm new at this speaking thing. Is anyone following me? Simple solves the complex. You run complex businesses, okay? You've got to simplify it. I'll give you another one. You need to take these back. Are these helpful for you guys? Yes or no? Okay, good. Young lady comes to one of my leaders, I'm going part-time. We don't take part-time, but I love you. You're great. Why don't you do this? You guys, have you ever in life, let's go say, have you ever been forced into a decision you know you needed to make and go, fuck, why didn't I make that decision when I knew I should have? Raise your hand, come on. Well, let's stop that shit. Let's call the pattern. We don't have to. We all know less leads, they convert more, but let's buy more leads. Okay? Going part-time. Team leader goes in, says, okay, how many leads you got? 250. Okay, good. Here's what I'm going to do. You're cool, trust you, you're great, wonderful, boom. Let me know how many leads. You guys, this happened in May. Let me know how many leads have had at least 10 contact attempts. Just 10. Please, I beg you. There's 15. This agent's been in the business maybe a year. This agent has no sphere of influence. This agent's in a marketplace of a $300,000 average sale price with 15 leads that they reached out to 10 or more times, and they closed $1.3 million 60 days later. Stop being a wimp. Stop being a victim to your agents. You know what you're doing? You're doing a disservice to them by not holding them accountable. You guys, accountability is the highest form of love you can show a human being. It is the highest form of love. It's called the truth. When you back off people, your integrity is being compromised. I'm sorry. And here's the problem with it. I get this a lot. Jon, give me the truth. Oh, okay, here you go. I do. You're a dick. Ben called worse. Okay. Here's the deal. I want you to think about this work, though, too. Okay? And we're going to map this stuff all out, right? Close to me. It's great. My wife is so funny. She's got the best coaches in the world. Not me. Gary, Deborah, Justin, Preston. Who did I leave out that's in the room? Every one of my clients are my wife's coach except me. But then she'll ask me questions. What should I do here? This, you're wrong. I'm going to call my coach, Justin. Okay. So, but here's what's neat. She moves methodically. She does really well. Has a great business. But she moves at her pace. All these friends she's had for years all in Follow Up Boss finally moves over. Because, like, she's a dog with a bone. Like, when she goes in. So she goes in. She gets in Follow Up Boss. And I don't know, it's a Saturday. And she says, I'm sitting down, I'm hopping in Follow Up Boss. It's Saturday. You guys, it's these little things. Stop having some ding-dong bean counter. Go inside there and then talk to your agents about what they did or didn't do and what they should do. You're asking the English to translate Chinese. Does a salesperson want to talk to a database manager who has no idea what's going on in the sales environment? No, but we can get that person for $10 an hour. You're wrong. You need to stop thinking. You guys know how many jobs I have in my business that are $15 an hour jobs that I do? And I don't need to get into what my business is or it does fine. I'm not missing any meals, okay? Pops in, sees an inquiry. Two hours later, inquiry wants to see a property. Goes cold text. Hey, when would you like to get into that house, tonight or tomorrow? Well, today'd be great, and you come list our house too. You're losing so much money. Day 1, day 10 through day 30. See, watch this. You think you're losing money on the lead 6 months old? No, you're not. You lost the money with them day 1 through 10 and day 30. That's where you lost the money. Ready? So, guess what? Awesome. We'll have one of our great agents come and take care of it, blah, blah, blah. But let me help you guys out with a couple of things, because this is going to help you out with your P&L too, okay? This is going to help you out how to run a business, a for-profit business. Some of you guys are running a charity, a for-profit business, Goes out, and I'll just say this, it was 1.3 million. The commission ended up being 43,000. And my significant other takes no shit because she's valuable. That's a 75% split to her in a $300,000 average price range. And it's 40-60 on buyers because she's about standards. That's 30,000 retained company dollars because you have standards. It's 30,000 retained company dollar because you make sure day one it's happening. You guys, these stories go on and on and on. So let's come back to your principles. What are your laws? I'm going to give you my example. You guys, I get to stand up here and do the work I do because it's a lot of work being me. I'm just working right alongside you. But I know what the guardrails are. What are your principles? What are your governing laws that are non-negotiable? I'll give you an example. They were passed on to me, and I love it. People, you copied my stuff. Oh, you invented shit, huh? That's the biggest joke on the planet. Number one, personal responsibility. Own your outcomes. These are mine. Personal responsibility. See, here's the thing. Here's where, oh man, you're so consistent, and you're this, and you're focused, and you're that. No, I am not. I am rooted in principles. And they are non-negotiable. See, what happens is you're zigging and you're zagging. Raise your hand if I'm kind of right there. Oh, it's kind of this rule today. We have one honest person, 999 liars. Okay? Personal responsibility, commitment, accountability, contribution. 4 core principles. When a decision, see, here's the thing. You think, and this will help you if you do, you've got to have this foundation. If you don't have a foundation of principles, you don't have shit. Because it's, you guys, it's changing your decisions. See, you typically have to make a lot of decisions. I have to make one. Anything that I encounter, and it's not easy, okay, where does that fall within my principles? What do my principles tell me in that? Okay, I go a little bit further because I believe in values. Values are the experience. Principles are my law. They're governing. My values are the experience that I want to have. Oh, wow, we're getting into the kumbaya stuff. Well, let me tell you something. These results that I'm telling you, like the other person that was paying $25,000 a month in Zillow took it down to $2,000 and now just had a record-breaking month of $40 million because they had their agents do their work. Oh, that's right. There's one over here, too, that turned their leads off completely because their agents weren't following up and sat and did the choreography of a meeting. You should check with Miranda. See, I'm just telling you what a lot of smarter people do than me. Just so you know, I'm just a vessel, okay? They turned off their leads. Oh, that's right, turned off their leads and had their agents go to work. And they had a record month, but you're scared. Values, fun, love, dignity, respect, humility, vulnerability, transparency, volunteerism. Are your values that embedded in you? See, I don't have to. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fall short. But you want to know what? I'm always going to come back to true north. They're non-negotiable. They're what I'm held accountable to, okay? And the ultimate piece, I don't believe in goals. I believe in a mission. I believe in a mission. And you've got to, what's your mission, man? Do you know it's something that serves the greater good? Because guess what? Doing the work we do is hard. It's really hard. And you know what you've got to have? You've got to have that work you do. You've got to have that work that you're asking your agents to do. You've got to know, just like the go to the board exercise, I want to know the one thing that has to happen in your personal life that hasn't happened yet. You want to know why? Because what's your name, ma'am? Kim, because here's my objective. I don't care how many homes you sell. At the end of the year, I want to sit down on 12/31 and have you know that I partnered with you. See, real estate's just a vehicle. And the critical thing for me is I've just got to know if there's something that's more important, I've got to know. You guys, you've got to connect at deep psychological levels. The heart chooses, the mind justifies, and you're numbering your people to death. I'll say it again. The heart chooses, the mind justifies, and you're numbering people to death. What you've got to learn is the balance of this art and this science with your agents, okay? It's really simple. Standards. I'll give you some. There's some people in the room here. It's 25 2-minute conversations a week. You're on leads. If not, you go to a lower tier of leads, okay? I've got another organization where you will come to the team meeting on Monday. You will go to Wednesday is training, and Friday you will go to the experiential mastermind where you bring experiences forward. And if you don't attend all three, and if you don't hit the bare minimum of activity for the leaderboard, you're off leads for a week. It's non-negotiable. Okay? I've got another person, and by the way, these people that I'm sharing, okay, they're doing fine. See, and fine to me isn't sales volume. Fine to me is net profit, okay? Don't you guys think Real Trends should put a net profit report out? Okay, here's another one, simple one. And I see the P&L of this organization. To get on leads, you've got to have 8,000 points on the leaderboard. That's it, 8,000's their number. Here's the thing. Every single person that I work with has a different path, different standard. But you want to know why they do well? They're committed to it. That's it. They're committed to it. That's the bottom line. What is your standard? I want you to go back and take a look at your standard and ask yourself, here's what it says. What do I allow? This is where these organizations are moving the needle. Period. Number 3 is skills. Keep training your people. Expect nothing from the training. What you've got to do is you've got to inspect. See, what pro athletes do is they watch game film, and then based on the discovery of the game film, they skill build the next week. They don't train, they skill build. There's difference. Training is information. Skill building grows a human being. Training will not make someone productive. Getting in the game makes them productive. The critical piece for you, okay, is to make sure that you're getting them into action. And you've got to let them know. Like, holding them accountable, okay, is the highest form of love. Here's why you don't hold them accountable, just so you know. Same reason when you were that listing agent and you weren't prospecting. You guys, if you can make this shift, it'll just really empower you. I watched the light bulb go on for leaders when I tell them this. How would you behave if you had one listing way overpriced? You're not prospecting. You ain't got no leads coming in, but you got a sign out there. Okay? You ain't got a bunch of money coming in. Are you going to have tough conversations with that seller? Are you going to kind of tiptoe? Get it? It's the same thing. And listen, I'm not telling you to treat them like cattle. It's a partnership. What I'm telling you to do is you must be recruiting every single day. End of discussion. It is the argue me. Put me on the stage with anyone. Argue me. It is the highest ROI activity in the real estate business, period, clunk. Period. What level of commitment do you have to that activity? Okay? So, principles, standards, skill building. You've got to inspect. You've got to be listening to calls. You've got to have agents come into experiential training where their responsibilities, they come back and share something that happened in the driveway, something that happened on the phone. It's experiential training, okay? And start, well, I don't want to do it in front of people. I mean, you guys, I'm telling you something. It's not going to work. Let me tell you what's going to happen. See, you think you have a brand. You can do all the marketing and you can have nice fonts and a pretty little color. Let me tell you what a brand is, though. A brand is who you are, what you do, and what you stand for. That's what your brand is. Who you are, what you do, and what you stand for. So you ready? if you're wavering in those things and who you are, what you do, and what you stand for personally and professionally, if you're wavering in those things, do you think that shows up and transfers through to your agents? Yes or no? That's the interactive part. I ask a question, you give an answer. Yes or no? 100%. They show up as you do. How are you showing up? Simple stuff, right? So I want you to go back. I want you to take a look at what are my principles. If I don't, I'm going to do the work. Please, if you don't, go do the work. What has to be law across the organization? What is law across the organization? What are the standards? They're in place. Am I willing to take the risk? Let me tell you something. You're operating out of not in integrity if you're not holding people to standard and they're failing right now. You are. You truly are. Okay? And your skill building. Obsess with those three. Obsess with those three, and you will 100% change the game. Have them be your guide. Have them be your guide. Here's what I want you to take away activity-wise. If I'm you and I'm going out, number one, you need to recruit your face off, okay? But you need to be relentless, okay? You need to be relentless every single day. Stop treating the highest ROI activity as that other thing we do. See, raise your hand if you're monitoring your recruit leads the same way you're monitoring your Zillow leads, and the amount of calls, the amount of emails, the amount of texts, and the email open rates, and the subject lines that are working, that are not, so you can get the message nailed in, hone in. Raise your hand if you're doing that. See, here's the beauty. I can walk in a room and find millions of dollars. Raise your hand if you have an agent, you retain about $200,000 a year, retained company dollar after they're split. Raise your hand. $200,000, okay? How about $100,000, okay? Bunch of you need to work on your splits or something, okay? So, I mean, you know, and I call you out to sit with it yourself. Isn't a recruit a revenue producer? Yes or no? So is a consumer, right? Let's do a little math. Let's say a consumer, a sales worth about, let's call it $12,000, okay? An agent might be worth about 100. Simple math. Maybe if I'm going to generate 10 times the amount of revenue off that type of lead, I should at least do the equal amount of activity. If you take home anything from me, you guys, take that home and run. Please. Take it home and run, okay? So here's what I would do. If I'm going back, I mean, there's so many different things, silos that go down. Number one, and you get to decide, do I have the wrong person recruiting? And you need to have this spiritual experience with yourself. I'll take you back to 1998, documented 1,483 transactions closed with one assistant manager, and I played golf all the time, okay? Because I knew the game. I knew the revenue-producing activities. I watch all these staff, like, what is everyone doing? They're not doing revenue-producing activities, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out. Number one, you or someone from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. is recruiting, period. Period. And if your business isn't where you want to be, who's the best recruiter on a team? Who? Who? I can't hear you. Yeah, you better be. Absolutely. You've got the celebrity authority figure in the marketplace. Your conversions are going to go. Yeah, you'll be a little bit sloppy, but let me tell you something. Your shitty, imperfect activity is going to smoke the perfectionist that doesn't do jack. Okay? That's our number one. Number two, you ain't going to like this, because this is what my day looked like. See, I'm going to shoot the bullets because I held the gun and I went to battle and I fed my family and I took care of my daughter who had health issues and continued to. So guess what? It's not good ideas. Then at 9:30, someone gets their ass out with the agents and you call beside them. Stop talking at your agents and model for them. I was on offense. You want to come bitching and moaning to me in the afternoon, your business is down? I missed you this morning. You weren't on the calls. Well, you know, I had this. Let me know when you're committed to the business. I'm committed to you. I'm there every morning at 9:30 right next to you. You can listen and you can make calls. And I'm calling FSBOs. I'm calling expireds. I mean, I had to call real cold stuff, okay? That's hour 2. For you, where I would go to is I would go into some inspection in the database, okay? Because by that time, okay, there's been some activity, we hope. Go for some inspection in the database and reaching out. Now, here's the thing that you need to do in that time frame. If you'll do that 3 hours a day, the rest of your day is going to coast downhill. Those are the revenue-producing activities. You do your recruiting for an hour. You model in the database for an hour. You're inspecting activity and pushing out recorded calls. Sounds like revenue-producing activity. Yes, I've oversimplified it. But you want to know what? We've got it in reverse. We're being too administrative. Now, watch this. If that doesn't fly with you, there's 1 of 2 issues there. Number 1, you feel you're too good to do it. Or number 2, you're really bad at developing a leader that can do it. Yikes, he said it. I've just got to be honest. Okay? That's from a scheduling standpoint. I want you to look at this too. 60% of your time. So I'm in a mastermind. I'm very fortunate. I invested in it with Brendan Bouchard and Dean Graciosi. There's 50 of us, okay? And I just came off and saw the Matthew McConaughey launch. We got to see behind the scenes of the Matthew McConaughey launch. We spent 2 days with him a couple months ago. We'll go back there in November, okay? You all know Dean Graciosi's not missing any meals, right? Okay? It's Tony Robbins, CEO, and his own business. Guess who manually posted and wrote the copy of every social media post for the launch? Go ahead. Of course he did, because it's his core competency. But you read a book that said you need to pay someone because you're worth $5,000 an hour, so you should pay someone who's worth $20 an hour. You guys, discern. Brendan Bouchard. Who's familiar with Brendan Bouchard? Brendan Bouchard does Growth Day. Brendan ends up selling, because we get to hear this stuff, Brendan ends up selling $5 million from the stage. Who built Brendan's registration landing page? Brendan. Because he understands, he heat mapped landing pages to see where people go, what works, what doesn't work. The big thing that I want you guys to go back to, I need you to go back and need to look at your core competencies. Your core competencies are those activities that will move the needle the most. The thing that you can do that can move the needle the most, and it's 60% of your schedule. I don't care what you can pay someone. I care on how much you can move the business. And I watch it happen over and over and over again. So here's where I'd go, those 2. If I'm you, and let me be fair. Let me be humble. I don't see your follow-up boss like you do. But I do about 5,000 one-on-one coaching calls a year with people that do pretty good. That's all. You see it better than I do. Here's what I see. If I'm going back, I'm going to be obsessed over the first 10 days. Okay? And I don't know. This is what I see. When the agents do it, it's a better experience. But the agents will never do it. Okay. I've got proof in cases where it will. Now watch this. That's where you got to pick your path. Which battle do you want to? I mean, I've got people, listen, we got people crushing it with ISAs. God, there's one of the best here, Travis, 100 homes a year. Gary and Deborah, they've got multiple ISAs that sell 100 homes a year. And Scott, I mean, Scott's a master. And I've got people, you guys, that have no ISAs and they're crushing it. What are you hearing? Pick your path and stick to it. Watch the first 10 days of a lead. Watch the first 30 days of the lead. Go in and be obsessed because, I mean, what are you going to do? Let's go down a science project and inspect with our proctologist, our gynecologist, and like, you know, the agents feel like they're in a firing line. And this is just what I've seen, what people have obsessed over. The first 10 days, the first 30 days, average reach out attempts per lead. Someone who has a massive high level of average reach out attempts, contact attempts, and no result, and you see it over and over again, awesome, we have a skill building issue, right? High performers that have no data in there, okay, now you get to pick your battle. You got to pick your battle. You're going to go down that path. Well, I want your money, but I want you to behave. My one client did. That was his choice he made. Here's what I want to help you with. Do you guys think it's going to get easier these next 2 years or harder? Okay. And so the choices you make are going to make it easier. Because let me let you in on a little bit of info right here. You know how most of you are skill building your agents right now? Guessing. Because you don't have real numbers. Because you don't have the guts to hold them to the standard of using this magical tool that can predict their outcome. So the final piece, just really quick, there's a bunch of things I give you to do. Listen to calls for 30 minutes. This has been magical. Because what I want to shift the culture, right? And it doesn't mean we go axe throwing and shit like that. No, I want to move standards, because I can only manage so many people, but I can manage the standards and the principles that manage the people I can grow. That's what we have to understand. But I've got to stick to the standards and principles. So I have to look at ways, okay? How can I leverage myself in a way that facilitates change for them? So here's what I do. I listen to a couple calls, okay? And I send them out. You guys, this is so critical. This is where you can blow it. I listen to a couple calls, and it's a shitty one. After you've cleaned your mouth from throwing up and going, oh my God, how much money am I losing? Okay, right? Or you tell your wife, honey, I'm having a great day. I'm going to go ruin it and listen to recorded calls of my agents. Right? Okay? I want you to send it to the agent. Hey, just was listening to this. Play it back and let me know what you would do different. Stop talking at people. You will never move them. These are the subtleties and nuances of excellence and high performance, your language. Stop using the word why. Why is the word of judgment. Why will not allow a human being to self-discover. Self-discovery is the highest form of human persuasion. It is the number one way to get a human being to make a choice, make a change, move into action. But you don't because you want to go fast. And when you get around some real high performers, you'll watch. They go really, really slow. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? But then here's the kicker. I need you to pick out 3 during the week. See, accentuate the positive, redirect the negative, acknowledge what you expect. Awesome. At the end of the sales meeting, what we're going to do is, ladies and gentlemen, listen, here's the thing. Stop blowing at your sales meetings too. You know what your sales meetings do? Rah, rah, it's a party, you do all this crazy stuff. It goes in the toilet by the end of the thing. Like, listen, your sales meetings is supposed to go like this. Your sales meeting is supposed to go like this. But what I need you guys to remember is the law of primacy and recency. I need you to go back into a movie. You're creating a movie, and you need to follow the form of movie. There's a dramatization. It pulls people in. Okay? And people remember the beginning and the end. And the most important thing is that you hit that emotional chord. See, telling people won't get them to do things. When you tap into them emotionally, when you leave that lasting thought, this is the psychology of growing a business, because people move the money. So one of the things that's really, really important is those that follow our principles and our sales process. And I always want to acknowledge that. Kathleen, gosh, good job, Kathleen. Tuesday, I was listening to her call. Chess. And the buyers said, oh, interest rates. And Kathleen, she just came back with this response to them. She seek first to understand, then be understood. She didn't go pure objection handler. She empathized. Great job, Kathleen. Oh, shit, I better pay attention on my next calls. I don't want fear. I'm trying to create tension. And then I go, and Grant, on Wednesday, when you were talking to the Smiths, Be specific. You're vague. When your agents leave the meeting, what do they think you do? Listen to every single call. My wife goes, they think I listen to every single call. I said, don't you tell them otherwise. Those are the simple things. They really are. What I want you to do is I want you to simplify it. Okay? I want you to listen to, do the grunt work. Do the grunt work. And I'm going to tell you something. This is the most opportune time. Listen, I was GM, Executive VP of FUBCON, Nevada, Texas, .com, .bomb era. I played in this game. Okay? I've played in it. And we crushed. We opened 7 startup offices because everyone else was bleeding. Now, this wasn't taking advantage. This was creating a home and a space for them. You know, you have an opportunity to go out. See, here's one thing that I learned, too, in getting sober 15 years ago. And it was the toughest thing, but it changed everything for me. Because although I may appear this way, sheer force and terror, just rah! I'm intense a little. But here's what I learned. When I really want to grow, go find someone to help. You may say, but John, I'm sitting in a spot right now. And you may not be, but you will, because life does that. It's the classroom we're in. When you do, you know the solution to when you're doubting yourself and when you're not loving yourself and you're feeling down on yourself? You go hunt. And you go find someone to help. Because I remember when I walked in that gentleman's home. And see, this isn't about drinking, not drinking. It's about sobering. And I hope that I've given you a sobering message. And I remember when I came out of rehab for the 9th time, afraid if I'm going to live or die, because I just couldn't. For 21 to 41, I could not stop. Okay. And walked in and he said, some of you heard it, but you need to hear it again. Don't sit down. What do you mean? I'm here for help. He says, no, you're going to go help someone. I go, what the? I'm helpless, man. I am helpless. And he said, someone has it worse. Get out of here and go help someone. Why do I tell you that story? It's the only rehab I didn't graduate from. Yeah, I've got all kinds of certificates. I may have gotten rid of them. I did it 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year, a 4 year. I walked out of that one in 7 days, but I heard that one thing. And that's what you've got to do. If you choose to take this path, if you choose this mission of principles, if you choose this mission of standards, if you choose this mission of skill building, and you know that it's going to wrap up and identify your brand of who you are, what you do, and what you stand for, okay, here's what's going to happen. People are going to talk about you. And some of you are sitting here right now, and you're a little sensitive to that. I'll just say this. If they're not talking about you, you're not doing big things. Let me give you the solution about people talking about you, okay? They're telling you their story. Take the high road. Number 2, it may be painful right now. If not, there will be painful moments. Being an entrepreneur is painful. Running a business is painful. You know what you're going to be presented with? Or even look for? Shortcuts. Run. The long road wins every single time. Take the high road, take the long road. Number 3, along that road, you're going to have victories. You're going to have breakthroughs. You're going to gain knowledge. You're going to do things that impact other people's lives. Every time something happens that you notice, changes in your life for the better, if you want to keep what you have, constantly give it away. Go back, take what you have. My hope is that I've impacted you guys today. Maybe I reminded you of some things you know you need to do. This is what's happening out there. But go out there and give it away. Appreciate you all.